Huh? So you can install a gig of memory, but only half of it will work? Huh? Hello world! Welcome to Hex1E and another look at the hardware and software of the turn of the millennium.
But before that, and as a favor, if you like what we do here, subscribe and comment on what you liked and didn't like about the video so that we can improve our content. Any ideas or suggestions you may have are of course welcome too. Finally, we'd like more people to enjoy our videos. If you could spread the word by, for example, linking them, it would be greatly appreciated. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to the video.
Last time we walked these paths, I had just purchased a refurbished Dell Dimension 4100 and promised to keep you up to date on that machine. This is me keeping that promise. We're gonna take a look at the specific upgrades I did for that machine on another video. This time, we're building a brand new one. Well, brand new. Old one, brand new, old. We're building a second one. That's right. We'll be having two of those machines. But before you say, Ralph, what have you done? The second machine is not for me. After doing my first video, a person reached out to me to build him a machine just like that. Well, something like what he had back in the day. And as I build custom systems for a living at the moment, I did. Well, I'm going to do now. Anyway, let's begin. Since this video will have a show and build format, we'll be taking a look at our case first. Here we have the amazingly priced Fractal Design Focus G in petrol blue, with its fully scratchable acrylic side panel of yesteryear. It comes with two LED fans, two 5¼ bays for our optical and magnetic media needs, and at a price of just over 30 euros represents great value. Let's take a look at our motherboard next. Here we have a Gigabyte GA-6BX7 revision 2.4. Yep. Bad names were also a thing back then. This board is a socket 370 unit with support for the Pentium 3 processors up to 1.something GHz. It's based on the Intel A2443BX and PII X4 82371EB chipset. Since the memory controller is on the chipset and not the processor, as was the norm back then, it is a chipset and therefore the board which sets the maximum amount of memory. In this case, 768 megabytes, spread across 3 DIMM sockets with support for up to 256 megabytes per socket. The memory support thing is an important fact and by no means obvious, since there are many cases of chipsets supporting less total amounts of memory than the sum of the max capacity per socket, which means that you could get a combination of a max capacity of 256 megs and two sockets, but the maximum amount of memory limited to 384 megs. Back to the board itself. It comes with an AGP4X slot for the GPU, 5 PCI slots and 2 ISA ones. Keep in mind that if you're using a modern ATX PSU, you won't be able to use the ISA slots, as these require a -5 volt rail, something omitted on the later ATX PSU specifications. You also get floppy 2 IDE ports for a total of 4 drives, your standard affair of dual USB 1.1 ports, a PS2 mouse and keyboard port, dual RS-232 serial ports and parallel port. As for the CPU, we'll be working with a 1 GHz Pentium 3 250K of cache. To achieve this clock speed, we're working with a multiplier of 7.5 over a 133 MHz bus. On a special note, with this board, you'll have to use tip switches you find here on the board, the ones in blue, to actually set the multiplier and bus speed. For the GPU, the client insisted in getting a Radeon DDR. This card also comes with a very powerful Rage Theater chip, which can be used for the purpose of video captures. Sound is provided by a Sound Blaster CT 4620 with a breakout daughter board to further functionality. For network access, we're using this card. This is an Intel Pro 100S capable of delivering 100 Mbits transfer rates. No Windows 98 PC should live without a networking card. I can promise you that those bots in Unreal Tournament will get pretty boring pretty fast if you don't mix it up with a LAN party now and then. For our optical and magnetic media requirements, we've got a DVD CRW combo unit and a standard 3.5 floppy high-density drive, both in black. To get ahead of any comments, I know that these drives aren't period accurate. The optical drive is from March 2007 and the flop is even newer, produced in February 2012. Using these modern units might seem counter to the idea of creating a system to get the best Windows 98 experience, and that may be a valid point, but I'd argue that there are important and good parts of that experience and ones that aren't. I consider the physical act of inserting some media to install something or read something an integral part of that experience. But in the case of the optical drive, I don't consider waiting for a slow unit to perform the installation a desirable one. It may have been part of the experience, and there's of course a tickle of being excited and eagerly awaiting for that loading bar to finish. I know that experience very well, and in some cases even share it. But mostly, I hated the waiting time. On the other hand, using a newer floppy drive unit has a more practical reason. You can get new old stock easier and, normally, that is bound to work better. I don't have to replace anything or clean the unit either, so there's that. As a final component, we have our power supply, where we'll be using a modern 550 watt fully modular unit from Seasonic. It's actually much more juice than this PC will ever need, but also the smallest modular unit I was able to find. Why a modular unit, you may ask? Because we don't need all the cables that come with modern non-modular units. Here again was my reasoning behind using modern components instead of period accurate ones. And with a PSU, as was with a floppy drive unit, practicality, and the fact that a newer, fresh out of the factory unit is less likely to fail anytime soon. I had actually purchased an original PSU from back then, but the voltages were all wrong, and I don't feel confident enough in my abilities to diagnose or fix the problem. I don't know. There is one caveat with using a modern PSU though, that is, that sometime between back then and now, the -5 volt rail was removed from the ATX PSU specification. This voltage is required for the correct operation of the ISA slots. For now, we won't be using them, but that may be a thing in the future of this machine, and if you wanna help out in making this work, please leave it in the comments. I do have many ideas on how to achieve it, but I'm no electrical engineer on anything, and building possible fire hazards is not something I wanna add to my CV. Anyway. Okay, with our components installed, the only thing that's missing is actually connecting all the cables and stuff. But this is where I leave it for this video. I do have a video of all the issues, highlights and benchmarks of the system coming up though. Originally, this was all going to be one video, but it was way too long with everything in it, so I decided to split it up. If you're interested in all the pitfalls I had to go through to get this one working as I wanted, tune in next time. I promise we'll have some fun and maybe you'll also pick up some stuff.
I certainly learned a lot.
All in all, we've got a pretty neat package here. And I hope that it serves the client and the client's gaming needs very well. So, if you enjoyed this episode, like, wanna see more of us, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that to the channel and hit that notification bell. My name is Ralph, and I hope to see you next time here at Hex1E.